Okay. Welcome. Hello. So, today, specifically, we are going to be looking at vibe coding and cursor. So, I've been using cursor and actually codecs within cursor, and I'll explain the difference between those two very shortly. Been using it for about 5 or 6 months now, and yeah, it just got a really good workflow down, and I just thought I'd share with you guys what I've been working on, what I've been using it for, how it's useful. This is a very practical AI coding workflow. So it's not one prompt builds an entire startup or builds everything single-handedly for you. No, it's a really structured approach on how to solve a problem. So there's been a couple of cases where I have had the need to be able to build something, and I can code, but it's not my strong suit. So I'd rather design and solve problems. And so this is a specific use case where I can actually go ahead and dictate to a tool like Cursor and Codex, and then have it build something for me in the background. So yeah, it's a super powerful tool, and I'm going to go through a few things that I've built. So on screen you'll see already built a really simple food planner. So this solved a couple of problems which I'll get to in a second. Also made a Gaussian splat viewer, so like a 3D viewer for web. An IG and YouTube sort of API data analytics dashboard, so I can look at all of the analytics in one place. And then also rebuilt my own website as well. So that was super useful, being able to come in and actually use the tools and see what that looks like. And so yeah, if you guys have any questions at any time, don't hesitate to jump in and ask any questions. And so yeah, and if you're watching this after the fact, yeah, if you have any issues, don't hesitate to drop a comment, drop me a DM at any time. It's really not a problem. So today we're gonna look at, I'll show you the examples, and then we'll do a full run through of what you guys need to install on Windows to be able to get this running, to get this set up and running. It also works on Mac and Linux, Cursor does, so you can download it for what you need. And then how to actually activate codecs within Cursor. And yeah, and then we'll actually build something live. So we'll go through, and today I specifically want to build something extra for my website to make it nice and easy for people to come and actually share and send some things. And so I'm live streaming on YouTube to get the full horizontal width and get the better quality view. But if you're on Instagram, you're seeing the sort of behind the scenes camera, which is just out of shot there. So yeah, I can put the display on for Instagram, which makes things a little easier to view, but there's things all over the place on the left hand side and the right hand side, depending on what tool it is that I'm actually using. So yeah, if you guys have any questions at any time, I'll keep checking things regularly, so don't hesitate, drop the questions in, and we can go from there. So yeah, let me just hide that and keep that back there like that. So yeah, feel free to join in, come back if you need to, and I'm going to be obviously cutting this longer live stream down into shorter videos, and also into shorts and reels as well, because that's nice and easy to use. So cool. So what I'll do first is just run through some of the examples that I've built in the past, so, and how they've actually solved problems. And yeah, really useful. So this is live in Cursor, what you're seeing here on the page here. So this window is just like the preview window. So this opens up as a web app. So I wanted this accessible on my phone and desktop. This is actually hosted on GitHub, and we'll cover what all those things are specifically if you're super brand new to this. But this basically we had a couple of PDFs from, my wife and I both had a couple of PDFs of different food plans from our old personal trainer, and they did a full meal plan for us. But my wife and I had slightly different portion sizes, and we basically, every time we came to cook, we had to go and scroll through these PDFs to the right day to be able to try and find out what it is we need to cook for. So it was constantly going to the PDFs, and or you'd lock your phone and open it again and have to scroll to the same spot. And I was like, there is an easier way here. So we took those PDFs and converted them into code, essentially, to be able to use and create this food planner. Now, this is super simple, but it saves us so much time. And this overall, just the whole process is just saved a ton of time for us. So yeah, basically we have here just the title and what the water target is, now and next. So whenever I open up the app, it reads the time of day, and if it's near lunchtime, it'll show you, in this case, meal 2 lunchtime, and that'll actually click off when it hits if I refresh this. But yeah, that's, I just wanted the most current meal given to me right at the top as and when I went to it. So whenever I refreshed it, it was super useful to be able to come in and actually just get given what I needed to. And so yeah, and be able to see what the snacks were for the rest of the day. So if it's near breakfast time, you see the breakfast recipe. If you're near dinner time, you see the dinner recipe. So that was super useful. But also, if we've got different measurements, I added in this, my wife Camilla and me Christian, we can bounce between the two very quickly, and you can actually see the difference in grams for the beef changing as I'm selecting that there. So when we're doing the portion control and we can measure stuff out, it's very easy for us to be able to bounce between the two and make sure that we're actually getting the right amount, which is nice. And so you can scroll down and see then what other snacks are due. And then I added this button at the bottom. We want to see the full week. So sometimes you don't just want to know what it is you're having there and then. You want to see the full day or the full week. And so because today's Monday, this is highlighted in green, and you've got the full week as just like nice drop downs. Maybe I can switch this on. Yeah, cool. And so you can expand Monday, and then you can see breakfast, first snack, lunch, the second snack, meal, and then if there's anything else afterwards. So I actually have something else underneath afterwards. I have a third snack, and Camilla, my wife, doesn't. So that was super useful to be able to have these here, and then yeah, being able, whichever one I click, it collapses the other one and only shows one at a time. And so you've got that full thing, so you can check, right, on Friday, what am I having for dinner? It's going to be sausage and mash. So really nice to be able to come in and just have this information handy when we need it, as and when we need it, right in front of us. So good morning, TweetStev. How you doing? Thank you for joining. And so this was super useful. And then the same kind of usefulness is this shopping list button top right. So if we go and do a weekly shop, this is everything we need for everything that is within this thing. So there is no AI tool here. This is just really simple, hard-coded, but just providing the information on a very simple website in front of us exactly when we need it. And so this was just one example of a really useful time-saving tool that I built for myself and hosted it on my GitHub so that I can just go to a URL in Chrome on my phone and it's there straight away. So we use this every day, multiple times a day, and it was very, very useful and very, very easy. And I made it in an hour, 2 hours tops. So that was really, really useful. Okay, and so the next thing that I built, which is super useful, let's just go to Chrome. This is for later, but this is a dashboard. So I saw online a few people were actually building these, and this is super, super useful for me. So I can actually come here and check in the last 90 days how my content's doing. So this is a full dashboard of, and it's pulling the data from Instagram APIs and YouTube APIs, and pulling it all into one location so I can dashboard it so I can see what's happening. So I wanted to know what posts are doing well on Instagram versus YouTube, and you can see we've got these metrics along the top. I can select whether it's just Instagram metrics, and now you're looking at just Instagram metrics versus just YouTube metrics. And because my YouTube is a lot newer, there's a lot less data, but very, very interesting nevertheless. And you can pick how things are going in the last 2 weeks versus the last 90 days, or like a custom range. So really, really useful to be able to come in and have a look and see what we've got going on. You can scroll down and see the top performing posts based on, this is engagement and then views. So you've got a little drop down. So this is really nice to be able to see how that's going. So I can make this there we go. That's a bit nicer. So yeah, really nice dashboard. You've got the followers and subscribers on there. Every time, this just runs locally. This isn't hosted anywhere online. I can just run this as a local app, and it feeds all of this and then refreshes every time this loads as well. Quick question, does Cursor let you dive into the code and change stuff manually? Yes, you can, absolutely. Yeah, I'll show you how that looks. You can access Cursor basically just opens up a folder on your desktop, and it'll just fill in all of the code there, and you can open it up in Cursor, make small tweaks, hit Control S and save that, and yeah, you're straight in. So yeah, TweetDev, that's your question answered there. So very handy just to go in and change a couple of numbers without using tokens for it to change. So this was really useful. I did some content analysis as well, but not very useful. I've got my top posts as well. So combined, you can see different engagement. So this was super useful to see what's working and what isn't. What are people responding to? What do people like most on different platforms? So it's really nice to actually come in and just take a little look and see what we've got. So top 5, top 10. Instagram's doing much better than YouTube, so top 10 is going to be just Instagram. And then got legacy posts as well. So because there are collabs as well, but I've hit 1,000 posts on Instagram, and so you can see how things have been going over the years, and the collaboration with Brie Larson with the face filters versus how you know, the AI sculptures and things and sculptures in general have been going. So really, really useful to be able to come in and have a look and see how things are doing. So yeah, some really lovely memories here about all of the things done in the past. So yeah, really useful tool just for me to understand, right, what content am I going to make next, what's useful, and so if you guys have any particular things that you want me to look at, drop a comment. Yeah, this is really, really useful. So that was great. And then the other thing that I've been coding, so I've been doing a lot of Gaussian splats, or like real-time 3D. So this is a live website, and then there's a project I'm doing in October, but this then allowed me to really go along to this specific location for that project and take my drone up and actually scan this particular piece. So this was really nice. So I'm just going to do a quick, not that one, let's do F11, quick refresh. The reason why is because this has got a nice little loading part. So this is Hodsock Priory, and this is just the gatehouse. So wanted to create a nice external interactive experience for the web, and so this is what's called a Gaussian splat. So this is essentially just a 3D scan, but done with kind of photogrammetry and point clouds, and that's a whole different topic. But this was a really nice demo to put together to make it branded. We can change with little buttons bottom left to change to light mode and dark mode, and yeah, all of this this splat's about 20 megabytes, and there's a full screen button there. But essentially wanted to create a bit of a virtual exterior tour, something historical. So if you click this little button here, this will actually change the camera location, change the pivot point, so that when you click and drag, this also runs on mobile. There's an optimized version that runs on mobile. Sometimes needs a few seconds to load. But the idea is you can click next, and it'll take you to the next location. And actually very specifically pulling out these architectural, this Lombard frieze that we have here to actually have a little look at the details. And considering this was done with a couple of videos on a drone and a lot of processing on my gaming PC, yeah, really nice to be able to come in and actually have a little look and explore this and give the viewer the control to be able to move around this space as they like. So what's really nice about the Gaussian splat is it's actually cut out all of the individual parts of the crenulated power pit, all these crenulations. So really nice to be able to spin around, have a look at the coins, and then the ashlar stone dressings around the windows. So yeah, really nice to be able to, and then we're back here, and then you click close and it returns you back here. So very nice, very high-end polished experience that's hosted on web and constraining camera views. We won't go into detail with this today, but if enough people are really interested, we can definitely do something about Gaussian splats later on, because they're very powerful and they're really nice, and there's some amazing work happening in the space to actually get some really nice high quality scans in places for people. So just seeing if there's any comments on the YouTube side now. Feel free to, if you guys have any questions at any point, don't hesitate to ask. So okay, so that's what I built before with Cursor. I have used Claude Code a little bit, but there's a reason why I use Cursor and codecs within Cursor. So I feel we just get a little more tokens and we just get a little more mileage for the time. So now that we've covered those, let me go through what the download process is to get you guys set up, and you can always come back to this video later when you're ready to set this up on your side, and how this all works for you. So and also I did redo my website completely from scratch as well. So this is all coded natively, which is really nice to be able to come in and actually just do all of this, and then it's hosted completely for free as well. So yeah, really nice to be able to have a bit more control over coding, because I know exactly what I want. I can come in and actually say, right guys, build this. Come on, let's go. It's not too difficult. So really nice approach there, and then obviously light mode and dark mode, really nice. Okay, so to build this from scratch, or sorry, to get Cursor started from scratch, the main caveat here is that I do pay for ChatGPT monthly. And because we're using Codex as the main AI tool instead of something like Claude Code, it's embedded within Cursor, and that gives me basically more tokens to use than if you're using the free version of ChatGPT. So that's the only real caveat before we start. But now we're running in, let's jump in. The first thing you're gonna need, sorry, let's start that a little bit again. The first thing you're going to need is Node.js, and if you're on Windows, you just have to click this little button here. So this Windows Installer MSI. Install it, run it. This is just something that's needed in the background when you're sort of building these apps locally. It's essential. And again, my background isn't development. I trained as an architect and worked in a lot of real-time 3D for the last 7-8 years. So being able to use these tools and actually be able to sort of bring some of these things to life has been super useful, super powerful for me to be able to actually produce some things that have been super useful. So Node.js is the first thing we need to install. So install that, get going. I'm going to kind of cover all of the points, but I'm not going to go into each of these in depth, and I'm not going to reinstall Cursor. Just going to keep it nice and simple and easy. So go to Cursor's website, and here, I mean, if I just come out of full screen mode, so cursor.com/download, you can come to here and Ooh. Yeah, cool. All right, just checking everything's still running. Cool. So go to cursor.com/download and just click this download for Windows button. You can, there is also Mac and Linux. I'm just running Windows, so I just run the latest version of Windows, and this works from here as well. So download Cursor, get it installed, and then I'll show you how we can actually embed. How we actually embed codecs. So codecs is essentially the engine within Cursor. Cursor is just the environment. You can use their tools. You can pay them to pull in the different tools and use tokens that way. That's also entirely possible. So yeah, this is what I was saying before. So I pay for ChatGPT Plus. So for me, it's about 16 British pounds a month. And the main thing here is we get expanded codex usage. Okay, so I also pay for Claude Code as well. Pay for Claude. So before, ChatGPT didn't have this Go version, so it was only 0, 20, and then 100, and then Claude had the same approach as well. So I just bought the first next tier, and they've now sort of got this midway pricing. So yeah, fine. This here is great for me, and I didn't really utilize this, or I wasn't aware until I started using this process and started using these tools this way, that actually yeah, I wasn't using this every month, and actually so I'm really getting the most of my subscription that way. So okay, and so codecs, so what we need to do is we need to basically download and set up codecs within Cursor. So you've downloaded Node.js, you've downloaded Cursor, and now to download codecs. So I went to ChatGPT/codecs. You might come to this page here. If you Google it, this is what comes up first of all. And so the question is, well, hey Christian, where do I go now? And what you don't want to do is you don't want to do this for my specific workflow. Codecs, they've now released their own app, you can see here, so by all means you can test this yourself and see how this goes, but for me, I went to go to cloud, and this is how we got to this page. And then what you want to do is go try in your terminal, this guy here, and then this takes you then to this page, and then where did I go? Yeah, okay, cool. So got to here. So this is the quick start. So sorry, it's try in your IDE, and then you've got Cursor here. So that opens another page, but I've already got Cursor open. So you can come to here. You get to this page, quick start, and you want to go IDE, which stands I think it's internal development environment. So you can then pick here download for Cursor. So you click that, and that'll download that, and then you can install it, and then away you go. So yeah, really nice. That's really simple. And then like a little side piece of info that's actually saved me a ton of time. So I can type very quickly, but it's just still not as quick as just talking to your computer. So I've been doing it a lot on my phone, especially with ChatGPT and Claude on device when I'm out and about, but actually being able to do that at home on this machine is actually even more useful. So I actually tried both Super Whisper and also Whisper Flow. And I tried both. They both have free trials, so I tried both of them. I like them both, but Flow was just a little bit too more. Whisper Flow was just a bit too expensive, too expensive for me. Like the difference in price for what was very similar services, in my opinion, that actually Super Whisper was great. So this is what I went with. Whisper Flow is very, very good. They also both have, for their monthly subscriptions, lots of other add-ons and extras that can go in there. So yeah, this just saves me a ton of time. You can just press Control Space on the keyboard, talk away, and yeah, you can just ramble on into Cursor, and then off you go. Like, you've got tons and tons of context that you're giving it, and then it'll process it all and build you a plan for what you need. So Super Whisper versus Whisper Flow, try them both, see what you like. And I just went with Super Whisper, so I thought that was really, really useful. Okay, so that's it for the setup side of things. It's just Node.js, download that, download Cursor. Have to make sure that you're on a ChatGPT Plus. You can try it. There's limited codex access, but if you want a bit more usage, or if you're already paying for Plus, yeah, you might already have this and not be utilizing it, just like I was. Download codex, and then if optionally you can add Super Whisper and Whisper Flow into the mix just to make things a little quicker. And so opening up Cursor then, what I'll do is, yeah, I'm just using the free version of Cursor. So you can see here there's this upgrade to Pro. I'm not paying anything for Cursor. As I said, it's more of just the environment. It's the wrapper, and Codex is actually running inside here, and actually is the brains. And I'll show you how we can change all of that. So yeah, so let me just, once you've installed everything, what we need here is that, let me just run through some of these windows and what we've got and go from there. So what I'll do is I will just do a new folder. I'll just do this off screen really quick. Okay, new folder. YouTube livestream 4. Sweet, cool. I've already added a folder. Great. For the build that we're going to do. Basically, on here on the left, this is Codex. If I click this, so Tweets did had a question about, can you change the code? And yes, you can. You can come into here, and you can click any of these scripts and come in and actually start to edit any of these. Okay, so you can make your changes if you know what you're doing. Click save, and then yeah, it'll save that in, and then you're up and running, which is great. So this button here, this is the main explorer of the folder, and that has all of the scripts in there. And I can show you what that looks like here. So let's get rid of this. I'll hide that menu. Yeah, so in the folder structure, I'll just open a new one. Okay, so I'm full screen. Right, there we go. So on here, we can just go File, and we can just go Open Folder. So that's the first sort of place to start when you're starting a new thing. So I've got this YouTube live stream thing, but in here, Food Planner, you can see all of the folders in there, and then there's scripts available. This is just a folder mode. And so today we're going to open this folder, and we're going to build our thing. But once you open up a blank folder, this is what Cursor is going to look like. It's going to be nice. It's nice and blank, and there's lots of things that you can do in here. So I'm just using it for my own purposes, and just for what I found useful. And yeah, shout out to Mike at Design Morphine. I found he put on some YouTube videos, and this is actually his workflow, the Cursor Codex setup that I've been using ever since he put that out there. So yeah, massive thanks to him. I'm not using any of these sort of agents on the right here, so I just close that. I don't want that. I don't think that's needed at all. There's some options here. I do show terminal, which brings up this little terminal at the bottom. So this is great for once you've built something, an app, you can actually demo it in here, like we saw before with the food planner. And what we're going to need, I've added this guardrails text file, which I'll cover in just a minute. But in here, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we can get Codex in here. So once you've installed it, you want to be able to click this button, and you'll actually want to find, you'll be able to see at the bottom here, you'll be able to see codecs with the little ChatGPT icon. And this does happen occasionally for me, so what I'm going to have to do is just close cursor and start open again. Because occasionally it does do that, where I can't see that codecs window. So I'll close cursor, let's open it again. Okay. And so once you've installed everything, you'll be able to come down here and give it a minute. That codecs will pop in just like that. And don't forget to pin it here. And you can click that and that'll appear at the top as well. So you can bounce between the code specifically and then also then codecs, which is really, really useful. And so what we want to do, so one of the first principles here is, what I like to do is, if you try and just tell codecs, tell cursor exactly what you want from the go, and you just list all of the functionality and you give it like 8, 9, 10 things to build, I found personally that that just doesn't work. It just either hallucinates too much throughout the process, different steps. I approach it with quite a structured approach of implementing each new feature or functionality as one block, as one chunk. Ask for that, do a plan for that, ask for that, build that, and then test it, see if I like it, and then once I'm happy with that, then move on to the next chunk or the next piece of functionality, because you need to ensure that it works well with everything else that you've built previously. So a lot of mistakes people make is that they just ask too much too soon, too much upfront too soon, and also they don't test it as they go. So you might ask it to do 6 things, it does the 6 things, you test them, and you find that the last thing implemented breaks the second thing, or the functionality just isn't quite there. So you do have to kind of take it steady and do a systematic approach to try and actually break some of these things down. So, hey guys, hey Don, thanks for joining. And so, looking at, now we have cursor ready to go, codecs within cursor ready to go. We're gonna start a new chat. So today, because I've built my new website, what I want to do is build specifically a form to make things a little easier. So instead of, at the moment, I've just got a button that opens up the website, also a button on the website that opens up the email for someone to have a little introduction. Hey Dodds, good to see you. Thanks for joining. And so, yeah, this isn't great. And some of the things, just to recap, some of the things that I've built with Cursor. So we've got really nice dashboard that we've gone through. We use Super Whisper all the time just to talk to Cursor, because it saves a ton of time. But we've used Cursor to create a great content dashboard. So that's been super useful to be able to come in and compare YouTube versus Instagram, and check the top posts. So that's been really great. We built this Gaussian splat viewer, so being able to take these Gaussian splat 3D models and then turn it into an architectural external tour. So that was really powerful to sort of layer on code and have this interactive data layer on top of the Gaussian splat. So that was super useful. And that's live and hosted on the internet on GitHub. And then also then we did a food app as well. So new website as well. So we're going to build something new for this. Nice dark mode. And then we also built a food app as well, which is really cool, just to save a lot of time. All right, so what we want to do, so now we've got Cursor set up. One thing I always do is we have to build a plan first. So we have to go in and actually build that plan. So using Whisperflow, we can just talk to Cursor here. I'll go through what the rest of these buttons are, and then we'll build the plan. And we'll review the plan, and once we're happy, then it can go away and chug and start to build those things for us. One thing I always do with these specific projects is I give it guardrails. So These are just 12 guardrails. They're just lessons learned, and you can add to this, but this is just a simple text file. It really just looks like this, and you can just add to it. Add another line, click save, and it'll update in here as well because it's all listed here. And so this is really simple. I'll let you guys read this, but don't push to GitHub unless I say so. Don't pull from GitHub unless I tell you to. Always push to my specific account. Make things brief and and avoid long summaries of things. You really have to steer the codex to be able to do what you want, as these LLMs will tend to just go off and do their own thing. Good question, Don. So Whisperflow or Super Whisper? I tried both. Whisperflow is very smooth, it's very nice, but it was almost double the price of Super Whisper. So I went with Super Whisper on my Windows machine just because it was just saving me money. But both of them very powerful tools, and they're both offering lots and lots of features. So yeah, great question, Don. And so yeah, basically we have this here, and yeah, the rest of the guardrails. Yeah, I can upload this to my Google Drive, and you guys can access this. So if you need this, you can just drop a comment if you want it. Very, very useful tool to be able to go in and make sure that we're not going too off the rails. And so what we're going to build today is basically going to be building. I've got the video production side of things on my website and the 3D viewers, but specifically what I want to do is help with like a quote calculator, okay, and then being able to input information and for them to be able to see something. So let's see what we get, and we can just talk to it and go from there. So this we've covered what's in this pane, but along the bottom we've got some extra things here. So if you hit this plus on the bottom left, we can actually enable plan mode, which is very important, and it's exactly what we need to do now. And there's other plugins you can install, like GitHub, so that actually helps with the uploading. That's an extra thing, but you can also add PDFs and photos and screenshots to actually help diagnose and solve specific problems. Default permissions is what I've got. Auto review, where Codex runs the commands in a sandbox and then basically can, without your explicit permission, be able to continue with the plan and be able to work through those things and actually solve that, which is really, really useful, because it'll ask for sometimes very dev heavy, very complex requests, and sometimes it's good just to let it build it, but other times you want to check absolutely everything of what it's doing in a kind of step-by-step manner. And then you've also got full access down here, which I've not done that. I don't trust it that much, so we're gonna leave it like that at that point, and that's just my preference here. And so we can actually select different models of Codex. So here we can click this drop down, and you've got intelligence level, so low, medium, high, or extra high down here. And medium is fine for most things. That's what the default was. I just had it on high for something else. You've got also a drop down for different models. I'm using 5.3 Codex. There was 5.2 Codex, but they've now taken that off because GPT 5.5 is here. I'm not sure if they're going to be releasing a 5.5 Codex version specifically, whether they'll just do 5.4 or skip it, who knows. And then you've got speed, so you've got standard or fast. I've been using fast, which doubles the credits used, and you have an actual amount of usage with GPT Plus or the next paid version, and you'll see as we're using it, we'll actually get a little dial of how much we've used this week. Oh, one sec. Okay, cool, should be good. And so yes, you'll be able to actually see what your usage is. So you have a 5-hourly usage quota, and then a weekly usage as well. So every 5 hours you'll be able, if you hit the token limit, you then have to wait until the specified time. So that might be in 3 hours time, for example. So depending on how heavy you use it, whether you have it on extra high, double speed, all of these things are going to take those tokens up and actually cost you more. But it really depends on what you're building. If you're building something that is sort of 3D native, maybe 3JS, or is dealing with 3D models, there's a lot more more dependencies to download and parts to include and make there. So yeah, okay, so let's have a little look about what we're going to build today. So yeah, let's have a look. So just a local business brief builder, okay? And so let's define like the problem, the user story for the client, and yeah, get this all to work. So what I have is I've actually got a little brief on the side, but what I'm going to do is actually read through what I want. So using Super Whisper, I'm just going to talk straight into this box at the bottom. That's going to open up a new chat here, and then we're gonna start the process, let it build something, and then as I said before, we'll test each time we go. We'll see if it's interpreted well or not. So we'll just go with codecs. We'll go for medium intelligence. We'll go double speed now just because we're streaming, and then we'll make sure that we're definitely in plan mode. Okay, and so let's have a little look. So one thing is really key when dealing with LLMs. I always ask them to put on a persona. We've got to put on the specific output that we want this information to be in. And at this point, we're just doing the planning. We want to, but specifically, we might want it in bullet points, or we might want it, in a specific structured format. And so, yeah, let's just jump in and see what we want to do. So let's just jump in. Okay, so we're going to build a plan. I'm going to want to build a small little web app that I can embed in my website, and it's essentially going to be on the video page of the new website, and it's going to be like a brief builder. So I want clients, potential clients, to go to the website, and instead of clicking the button for the email, they actually put in a bit of information, and they'll actually either that'll build the brief that then comes to me, so I get a bit more information, and then I can actually follow up with that conversation. And so yeah, the bits of information that I need here. So I want this to be HTML, CSS and JavaScript only. I don't want any back end. I don't want any login, no external APIs. I want the design nice and clean as per my csvstudio.co.uk website already is. I can include a screenshot. It's clean, modern, professional. I want it mobile responsive as well. And so the inputs that I want the business to put in their name, what type of business they are, what their goals are, their target customers, the product or service they want to promote, whether there's a specific style they have, and a call to action to put at the end. And so the outputs of this is a one-sentence strategy. We can do a 30-second video concept, a simple shot list, suggested opening hook, CTA, and a package tier as well. So we just want this to pull from different things. And guardrails, don't overcomplicate the app. This has got to be super lightweight and performant, and keep all the logic nice and simple. Use clear comments, and yeah, prioritize a working MVP over advanced features. And so that was very long, basically yapping, and that's filled that in. Okay, so this is the prompts that I'm putting in specifically to see how this goes. So we put this in, we are definitely in plan mode. So now I'm just going to hit go. Yeah, medium's fine. Okay, so there we go. Now we're in this chat window with Codex within Cursor. Okay, and so now that we're running this, let's have a little look. And now it's really a case of how does it feel? What do we want this to be like? We've got a feeling. We've got some parameters here. We've got our guardrails as well. And now what's happening is it's actually going to ask you questions back. So this is where it becomes a really powerful tool where you're specifically, you have a plan, but getting the LLM to ask you questions to help refine it is super, super useful. Very, very powerful. So here is asking, without a backend, how should the generated brief get to you after the user submits? And I want a mail to draft. So that's actually like sending me an email, and you can hover over here. And it specifically says here, open user email client and preferred subject body containing the generated brief. Or you can actually show the brief, one-click copy, and it pastes it into the email, download a text, or you can ask it what to do. So let's start with this, and then we can always add the feature where it emails me that thing later. So we click which option we want, and it's going to set, and it's got another question for me. So there's 3 of these. How should the package tier be determined in the MVP? Simple and rule-based, or the user picks the tier. And I actually have tiers on my website at the moment. So what I'll do is I will specifically include those. So I'm actually going to add this to the bottom. This is the 4th option. And I say I have tiers on my website. I'll give you, and the user can select from dropdown. Sometimes this is easier just to type, but you can do both. So let's continue that. And then the last one, how do you want this integrated on your video page? Either an inline section, so embedded directly in the page, which is exactly what I want. There's a pop-up or an iframe. Let's just say for this MVP, we will do just a new clean page to be integrated inline section later. So it might add some things, some extra code in there, so easy plug in later, or it might just wait. So we are giving it a lot of control to be able to do quite a lot and do a lot of the coding heavy lifting for us. So yeah, it's super, super useful. Okay, 3 more questions. So this is great. This is going to give us the best plan so that it can just go ahead and work and do what it needs to. So which fields should be required before generating the brief? All fields required. So yeah, this is the kind of thing where you don't want to stop people because they've got to give too much information. Let's just do core for now, and we'll add more later. Which tone should the generated strategy concept use? Professional and direct. This is recommended. And for the shot list, how many shots? Let's do 5. Let's see how we go. And now it's sat there thinking. And this is the full chat feed. So this is building, and we've got some more things here. How should we define a package tiers for the MVP? Wait for exact tiers. I've got the tiers. I'm gonna tell it I've got them, and I'll give them to you shortly. And what we'll do is we'll open it up and screenshot it. So this is where we want it. We want it to be here. So at the moment we've got get in touch, sends an email. These are the tiers I have now, just for basic things, basic websites. I use a window. No. Command Shift. No. Windows Shift S. Come on. Rectangle. Here we go. Cool. So that's added a screenshot, and then go back to cursor, and then I can actually paste that in a minute. Should brief outputs be deterministic from the same inputs or vary each time? So we want them deterministic, so there's no variance. Should the email draft include both raw form inputs and generated inputs? We'll do both, see how that goes. We'll paste this in, and whilst it's thinking, we can actually still submit this. Oh, okay. Well, we can, but we'll come back because this overrides it. If a user selects a package tier from the drop-down, what should the output do? Echo selected tier. How should we specify style? Free text. Yeah, we'll go free text. Let's go pricing tiers. Now, if I hit enter or this arrow here, that will wait until it's finished. And now it's submitted it. But there also was a steer button. Okay. And so the steering button would have actually interrupted one of the steps and then given it here. So I've given it the pricing tier. We'll see if it's included in the plan. So it's now received my basic splurge of and yapping of what I want it to do as just a rough plan. I've got an idea. I've got an end destination. It's really tough if you go in with a completely blank canvas and you don't know what you want to build. So going in with a plan, or with an idea in mind, and then use the LLM to actually help build the plan. Super useful. Okay, so now it's finished building the plan. We can actually open this in the window. We can expand it, and then we've got options down here to say yes to implement or no to make some changes. So can I open this in here? Give it a sec. Okay, and actually on Instagram, if I do this now, yeah, let me do this. There we go. Cool. So on Instagram, you'll also see the plan. And so let's just a quick. It's always good to check this because what you don't want is for it to build it and and things are wrong. So summary: build a standalone lightweight page for a client brief builder that can be later embedded on a video page. Collect the core business inputs and then do a draft containing the inputs. So it basically helps write the email for them, and they can just click send. I will receive the email from them, and I can follow up in that particular thread. And yeah, super useful. It gets sent to them, gets sent to me. Very useful. And so yeah, we've got, it's going to be basically 3 parts: HTML, CSS, and JS, which is a very simple front end MVP, or minimum viable product. The different inputs, it's just a form, but we're going to make it look really nice. And then drop downs, which is a required drop down, is, kind of pick a tier that you think suits you. And we're going to have that information just above so people can see what they're going to get, because for starter, you only get 1 video and just 1 round of feedback. So the output block generated on the submit will actually give us a 1-sentence strategy, the video concept, 5-line shot list, and so these are we're gonna draw from things. We're not going to just get LLMs to hallucinate those things, CTAs, and go from there. So we can have a pre-selected list based on things that people are suggesting, or we can actually have some other things in there as well. We can test it, see how we go. And then the actual generation logic, deterministic from templates, professional direct tone. This is all really good. Submit behavior, validate required fields, styling, very clean. Okay, it's looking good. Cool. Assumptions and defaults. Nice. Okay, cool. So I'm happy with this. So I'm going to click yes, implement the plan. Okay, so now what Cursor's actually doing is, now if I go and click here, you'll actually be able to see on the left here, as it's working, it'll actually start to generate code and actually build the scripts for us, and they'll just pop up in my Windows folder specifically. So nice and easy. So you can see what it's doing. It's working for 20 seconds, implementing the plan. It's run 2 commands. You can expand that to see what it's doing. It's now writing the scripts. And actually, if I go to, if I switch this back here, click here, and you can see now we have a new script. We didn't write a single line of code, but we have a brief builder.html, and you can see what it's written. Now, in those few seconds, it's written nearly 100 lines of code, just like that. So it's building, it's working on it, and we can just let it run and let it do its thing. And whilst that's happening, I mentioned before this little dial is going to come up. It's very small, but you can actually see the context window and what the context window is. So it says context window, 20% used of 80%, and then tokens used. So 52,000 versus 258,000 tokens used. Because I'm using fast mode, it's going to be using double the tokens. So I've been using this workflow because it's saving me tokens, but because I've been taking things slower, I don't really run it in fast mode. I lower the intelligence for certain things. And so the context window is if you're giving it lots of code. If you've got a full running app and that's got lots of scripts, it's got lots of images and lots of data for it to process, then that context window gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, yeah, that will automatically compact over time. But yeah, so far it's used, I say 57,000 tokens, but we've done a lot of planning. It's done some good stuff. You can do plans elsewhere, which I've done that before. That's a good workflow. Do the plan in either ChatGPT or Claude, elsewhere, free version, whatever you want, and then bring this in and actually just say, here's my plan. Here's the file. Here's my text file, my .md file, markdown file. Pop it in and see what it suggests. And say, use this to make the plan and then just build it. Build this plan. And so it worked for just under 2 minutes, and there we go. It's actually built something. And required field for validation to send to my email address. Couldn't run the browser-based integration in this terminal. So let's have a look. So this is what it's built. We've got HTML files, we've got JS, we've got CSS. Okay, cool. And so now we need to say, nice and easily, how do I run this locally to test? I like to use it's got npm run dev is just a command that we can put down here to then open it up. I mean, you can just double click the HTML page and see how that works. We can try that. So you can click this and then we can start to like just click run on this and see what happens. But I'm not sure what this is going to do. What I tend to do is it just sets something up here. So this is creating another file very quickly, so you can see what code edits it's making. What's interesting here as well, if you can see, the green are all the lines that it's added, and then the red are the ones that it's taken away. So this is now finished. So in 35 seconds, I can now type in this command and it'll open up a local host and be running this little web app that we've made completely locally. Okay, or I can click this and it's actually, well, we'll just open up there. So what we'll do is go back to cursor. We need to set it up first. So we need to run this. We're going to run it down here. So we can just type in npm run dev, hit enter, and then click the local host in here. Okay, fine. So you can run it in cursor. I've done that before. How do we do that? You normally just click this and it'll open up here. But for today, if you do control click, it opens up in browser, which for all intents and purposes, that's fine. Cool. And this is what we've got. So it's built it. You can see it took 2 minutes for it to actually build it, but it takes longer to plan than it does to actually build this. So we had an idea. We used Cursor, Codex within Cursor, which is from OpenAI. And for me, Codex is free because I'm paying for ChatGPT Plus. So for me, it's £16 a month, $20 a month. And this is what we've got. So now we need to test everything that we've asked Cursor to do. And so Cursor has taken just a blank folder on my desktop. I've given it this guardrails txt file, and it's created basically a styling script, which is 240 lines of code, an HTML file, which is 100 lines of code that wraps everything together, and the JS, which is the actual engine, which is 169 lines of code. Also this little server just to get it up and running. And all we did was talk to codecs. We just spoke into here, and then that produced a nice little test. So it looks impressive. It always does. There's always this wow factor with vibe coding and being able to, oh my god, I can do this and do that. But like with all LLMs, sometimes they hallucinate. Sometimes they don't do things as efficiently as possible. They do lots and lots of things. So we have to check the work all the time. So treat it like, as they say sometimes, like an intern, and just check the work and what they've done. So let's just do, let's just go business name, test business 1, nice and fun. Business type, let's just say, no, let's be a bit more fun. Let's just say, okay, sofas for us. Let's see what this is. So this is business type. So we are, it's like a commercial, like a retailer. Let's just say furniture business. Target customers. Well, the target customers are people who are like, let's just say interior designers. Yep. Okay. Cool. Goals. Reach more clients. I'm going to showcase the deals that we have. Move selected stock. Okay. Product or service to promote. We have, let's just say, a new range of, I don't know, teal sofas. Specific style. Oh, we want it like polished. Yeah. Professional. Let's see what we get. Package tier. We can say, oh, okay, we can afford to spend £1,000 on a few videos. Call to action, which is going to be the end part, which is going to be something like head to our website. And let's see what happens. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Let's see what we get. Okay. So this has now created a generated brief, and then we've got another simple button that'll help write the email. Let's have a look. So, one sentence strategy. Sofas for us will position a new range of teal sofas to interior designers, increase awareness with the right audience through one focused, benefits-led message and polished professional finish. In 30 seconds, open with a clear audience pain point, show new range of teal sofas, solving it in real use, and close with a trust-building proof plus a direct invitation to head to our website. Here's a simple shot list. So the hook at the beginning, the key problem, the friction shown, product or service in action, new range of teal sofas shown in practical context, the proof, one clear before and after metric of what that space will look like with this new sofa in, brand credibility, so short visual of the team or the process or the results, maybe some of the warehouse or the showroom, and then close on the CTA. And then a suggested opening hook. If interior designers need a better way to handle furniture outcome, this is built for them. So it's not great, but this is actually helping get into the position and making me realize what I need to input and how I want this tool to work in the background. Okay, so if I click email this brief, I have a feeling it's going to open. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is basically it's trying to send an email, and I'm not logged in onto this account, so I can't see what this email will look like. But the fact that it's doing this means that that part is working, and it's going to copy this into an email for us, and it'll populate where the email needs to go, which is actually super useful. So, okay, let's have a look. How can we improve this? So there's lots of different options here. This is, we can improve it visually. We can solve some of the little problems. You can see what isn't essential, which is really nice. So we can actually get rid of, let's stress test this, remove some of the non-required fields and click generate brief again. Yeah, so this isn't doing anything. This isn't doing anything particularly clever. It's not an LLM that's actually writing this. This is just a structured template, and it's just replacing values in this here. So I need to give it more of a script of what I would want it to say, and then make sure that it's actually being emailed to both my email address and also the customers. Well, they'll just so that it's set up to email to me, and it'll be in their sent box. So that's super useful. And so now back to cursor. It works in principle, and so now let's see if we can improve upon it. Let's ask what features are needed, what features can we add, and how we can improve it, and yeah, make it a bit more human. So this is helping write the brief for me to help produce the video and what we need. So let's actually let's ask this. Let's say this is a really great start. How can we improve this? What other features can we add so that we can make the text sound a bit more realistic, and actually structure it so that visually it doesn't look like there's too much information being asked for up front? Do we perhaps paginate it or reduce the fields, and maybe allow people to expand if they need to expand on it, because the required fields are great. That's enough to get going. And then what are the options for being able to maybe add an LLM? Let's discuss the options on being able to write a bit of a better output, or add different template options so it can shuffle between different templates, or select different templates based on what options they pick as they're picking it. So there's lots of different things here that we can do. The question is just trying to discuss which ones we should do, and what's best. So again, using Super Whisper, I hit Control Spacebar on the keyboard. That opens up a nice little UI item for me just to talk to it. And then we don't necessarily need to plan again, but I like to. I think this is useful, and just do it in different stages. So that really is helping that there. So we'll submit that, and we'll see what we can do. What's best here. So feel free to ask any questions if you guys have anything pressing. I'm here, open book. So okay, cool. So we've submitted it, and let's have a little look. What interaction? So we're asking us some questions back, which is again the other LLM superpower when doing vibe coding. What interaction pattern do you want to reduce perceived form length? A two-step wizard, so it requires 2 steps, or progressive expanders, and it actually highlights and actually says what is recommended or not. So this is super useful. What I might do on Instagram, just because you guys can't see, I can switch on the display capture and I can just slide it over, because this is a bit more useful for you. And then if I do this, okay, sweet, cool. And so let's answer some of these questions. So we could do a 2-step wizard, which is quite nice. So if I bring this back up, here, let's have a little look. So this is what we're looking at here. This is what we've got. 2-step. So you could do 2 steps within here, and then there's like the generated brief there. This is quite nice. Yeah, let's give that a go. Let's see how that looks. And then if we don't like it, we can look at progressive expanders on mobile. Gets a bit difficult, and we've got to think about that specifically. And that's also a really good point. If you come to here, if you right click at all and go inspect, you can actually come up here on Chrome and select a different phone, so you can actually see what that's going to look like. So because it's done it as 2 separate cards, they display next to each other, horizontal on desktop when you've got the width there, but actually in mobile it'll just stack them on top of each other, which is a really nice approach. And so, yeah, you can see here, it takes up a full page. And so we've got a lot of information. People are just going to look at this on mobile and just go, ah, come on, like this is just a bit much. So we can maybe do it as 2 separate pages, see what that looks like, and see where we go. Also, whilst we're here, this is a really good point. You can actually come to console here and see if there's any issues whilst you're running this. So if you're building apps or anything a bit more ambitious than just sort of a web form, you can actually see what comes up. This is just saying it's missing a little icon at the top. But other than that, you'll be able to see some runtime errors if there are any, which is super, super useful. So you can just right click inspect or hit the little cross there to be able to come back to this guy here. So going back to cursor, we're going to do 2-step wizard. Let's see how that goes. We can paginate that potentially. Let's have a little look. And then how should we improve the realism without the back-end API and dependencies of the core minimum viable product? So template packs and rules is the hard-coded way without having any monthly costs. Because also we've got to be careful here. When it's web-based and anyone can access it, it could be a vulnerability to some sort of cyber attack or hacking, or someone who just wants to go in and just cause havoc. They could just do lots and lots of requests or ask for pancake recipes and just try and brute force the LLM to do other things. So we need to be careful here. I think just templates are going to be super, super useful. And the rules are going to be based on the type of things here. So we can hard code if we're looking for specific words, or if we ask in the industry to be allowed to drop down, we can have a separate template for each of the items in that drop down. Now that feels like a smart way to go about it. And so for this whole process, it's very useful to understand, you know, you've got an idea and you want to expand upon it. You don't have to have all of the answers straight away. This process allows you to just start the conversation with Codex and be able to kind of iron things out as you go. Add features and test it as you go, which is a much more sort of collaborative back and forth, which is really, really nice, which is what we want. So templates and rules, that's what we're going for. And then the next question, for optimal LLM enhancement, what architecture do you want? It's saying templates first, then LLM. If we want to add it. I think we're not going to add the LLM for now, so let's just do no LLM path. Keep it fully local. Just keep it in code that's going to be hosted on the GitHub side of things. And so another thing we can cover here today as well is setting up the GitHub side of things. So having your own GitHub account, go to github.com and set one up. Really, really easy, very, very useful, and that's a great place to host this code that we're building here today. And just by talking to Cursor, we've been able to generate our first little web app, helping clients build the briefs for video production. So they can go to my website, fill in this little form, and based on the information that they put in, they get a different templated brief here. So this is just for, I think, demonstration purposes today, but a good use case of what's possible and what's useful. It's going to save me time, it saves the client time, and it helps them make the decisions and decide what they want. So how should the system choose which template pack to use? Auto-selected by inputs, I think that's the best one. You can say use a tone, so this is giving me different options, different branches, and different routes that we could actually go down if we want to. So this is really useful. So yeah, as the client on my website is picking these things, I want it to be a bit smart. Have a little bit of some logic behind it, so it's not just giving a generic response. So let's click that. It's asking another question, another 2 more questions. How should the generated output be presented to feel lighter and more usable? Cards, sections, and copy buttons, absolutely. We don't want it as a single narrative block, and no, we don't want tabs, but we can also specify for something else completely at the bottom if we want, if you don't. Okay, so Cursor, What else do we go doing here? After the generation, should users be able to improve the outputs without re-entering the fields? Generate variants. This is interesting. Provide 2 or 3 variants for alternate template packs. This is interesting. So what you could do is, this is opening a whole aspect that I hadn't really considered unless we started going down this rabbit hole, which is really nice. So here, once we've generated one, if I want to edit it, we could have like a little refresh button here on the left. Yeah, we could have a refresh button here on the left, on the right here, to say like regenerate, and it goes for a different template, slightly different results. That might be useful. Or if someone goes in, makes a change here that actually, I'm going to redo my goals, and then click generate brief, it does another one again. So there's mixtures here. So I think that's useful. So that's a really good suggestion from Cursor. Yeah, regenerate variants. Let's say, I'm going to just be really explicit here. I like what it's suggesting, but I'm going to go in and actually say that I want it to have a little refresh button on the right hand side. So let's copy what it says. So we're going to say, I'm going to talk to it. Regenerate variants with a recycle icon on the right of the generate card, and allow the user to generate 3 or 4 different variants if they don't like them. They can also go back to the form, make changes, and hit generate button again. So using Super Whisper, I've just Control Tab, say what I want, it transcribes the whole lot, puts it in there, submit. Okay, so this is now going away and doing things. It's working for 9 minutes at the top because that's waiting for me to respond and actually come back. So, okay, again, more questions. So this isn't a bad thing. This is slowly whittling it down. So when it comes to actually doing the work, it'll one-shot it or do very, very close first time. And so let's have a little look. Which template pack strategy should we go for? Goal-based packs, tier-based packs, style-based. So this is, again, asking for the specifics of what we want here. So based on what they pick, we got options. We got options here. Let's have a little look. So what do we want? What are the options? So for goal-based, so you can have different goals. We can have different tiers. No, we don't want their price to determine what template they go for. I think based on their goals, I think that's really useful. So on here, depending on what their goals are, maybe if we make goals a drop down, there's going to be a bit more one-to-one logic going on. So let's do that. Let's open up this, and we'll say here 5 goal-based packs, and turn the goals from free text into drop downs, and give a list of 10 goals that a small to medium business would want and need to grow their audience and increase sales. So again, speaking to it, let's run that in. Okay, 2 of 3. Where should the email CTA live? So call to action live after moving to card-based results. Sticky bottom action at the bottom, recommended. Let's happy with that. Let's go with that. Step 2, optional details. How should extra inputs behave by default? Collapsed. Extra inputs, always visible. Show all optional fields in step 2 immediately. Yeah, I think so. Collapsed. I want them to see it, because the more information I get, the better, but the less they have to do, also the better. So let's do always visible for now. We can change that later. Okay, so now it's off, it's running, and it's got its to-do list, and now it's writing that plan. So this is plan number 2. We had one plan to begin with. to actually build what we had, and we've got the full chat history. So this was me yapping of what I wanted to help build the plan. There was lots of questions, 3 questions back and forth. We built the first plan, and then it produced something. It built something. So we ran it, and this is what we got. So fill in the details, click generate. We get a rough brief, and then click this email, and that opens up the client's email, puts the email in, puts my email address at the top, fills that in, and goes through it. Okay, so here is the new plan. Let's open the new plan. All right. Okay, upgrade to the current MVP 2-step flow that feels lighter up front while providing, while improving output realism. Okay, through a deterministic multi-template engine. No LLM, no backend. So keeping it super clean. And so, yeah, move to a 2-step wizard. Step 1 of 2, which is super useful. Next and back controls. So because we've said a 2-step wizard, that means that it is very useful. The UI should have these things to make it a nice, easy process, which is really nice to have. And it's doing this thinking for us so that we don't have to actually remember absolutely everything that we need. So it's very, very useful, very powerful tool. Cool, keep step 2 optional. And so, yeah, okay, cool. Drop down. So replace the text free text goals and fixed goal to a fixed goal drop down. So these are the drop downs. Qualified leads, direct sales, launch a new product service, increase brand awareness. These are great. This is exactly what we want. Required theme, and then we've got 5 goal-based packs. Ones that are awareness-based, lead-based, sales, retention, and trust. So that's really, really nice. And this is helping. So if someone comes to my website, they need a video and they don't know what they want, by picking from these drop downs, they know that they're sort of proceeding within the realms just to get an idea of wanting to work with me and what we can build. Map logic. So map the goal to the primary pack. That's great. Result presentation. Cool. Render each section as its own results card. Maybe not. Let's see how that looks. That might look nice. Better than one chunk. Maybe it's too much. Too many boxes within boxes, but we'll see what it does. Let's have a little look. Email payload, updates. Cool. Making changes. Goals. Nice. This is all the stuff for the back end of data structure. Great. This is looking great. Yes, implement the plan. Let's let it run. And so this is great. And when I'm at sort of full capacity during the week, I've definitely had Claude Code open working on one project, Cursor open working on another project. So it is really useful to be able to have these tools at your disposal of what you are building. And so I can actually have a look and see the context window is still only 26%, so 74% left. 64k of 258 tokens. 67,000 tokens of 258,000 tokens. So that's great. We're using a very, very small fraction by doing this. So yeah. Okay. It's actually telling you what it's doing. So it's implementing V2, but it's actually, I've hit an encoding issue whilst patching this. So I'm rewriting the files directly with 8 encoding, whatever that is, to avoid corruption and to actually complete the V2 rollout. So whilst it's thinking, it's doing a lot in the background, and a lot of things that we are not manually doing, which is very useful. And so, yeah, it's running it. We can actually see, we can expand it, see what it's doing, and see what is going on. So we can actually come into here, and see how the code is looking as well. But in general, things are going really well. It's nice. And so, yeah, if you're stuck for ideas or you want to know what you want to build, just have a chat with an LLM and see what it is you can do. Most of these things started with a problem, a very specific problem that I wanted to solve, needed to solve, and actually then proceed to to build a little something just to make things easier, make it quicker, or make me more informed. So, okay. So, success, replace the HTML file successfully. It's now updating the CSS, which is the styling script. Yeah. Cool. So, let's have a look, see if there's any comments. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, welcome guys. Thanks for dropping by. Got any questions? Don't hesitate to ask. Cool. So for those of you that don't know, if you're on Instagram, I'm actually multi-streaming at the moment. I'm live streaming on YouTube horizontally, and so you can check that out to see the full screen and the full details of how to install Cursor and actually set this up for yourself. But if you're just on Instagram, you're just looking at this other camera that I've hooked up. So this is actually, for those of you interested in the setup, I used my wife's old Pixel phone on a tripod, USB cable straight to the PC, and you can set that up to webcam mode. And so that then activates it as another camera, set that up, and then we're away. So in OBS, I've set up a vertical setup, and I've got a horizontal setup as well. So that's really nice, and I can play around, and actually I can share the desktop view with Instagram as well. So that's nice, that's useful. But yeah, on YouTube you can't see what what Instagram is seeing. But yeah, it's super useful. Let's so just playing around, got some new lights as well. Yeah. Let's have a little look. Okay, it's still thinking, it's still working through these changes. We've asked it to do a little bit more this time, so it's not just writing basic code. We're doing a bit more. It's more involved this time. So yeah, it's nice to be able to come in and change some things. And for those that are interested, actually, the light that I've got set up here. So this is my main fill light. This has got a softbox on it. So they are newer, NEEWER, and the reason why I got those, RGB lights, and they all run via the app, so you can turn them on and off via the app. You can control the color, the brightness, super useful. I've got then this one back here, which is my my key light, and that is another one of the new one. But also then I recently bought, that's finished, but I recently bought one of these. So these are just handheld, they're just rods, but they're the same brand, and I can obviously then put the lights wherever I like. They've got it's got a connector to both sides to attach to a tripod, and obviously you can change the color of this. But then so we've got two of these, one doing the sort of purple in the background here, and then this one that I can place wherever I like, just for a bit more extra. So here's like a really good spot. So yeah, just trying to really explore, play around, see what we can do. And the nice thing is it's a one button push to turn them all off on the app and turn it all back on again. So really nice. You can also set different scenes, so I can just change different lighting setups at the tap of the button. So yeah, I love all this stuff. Okay, so the V2 has been implemented. What it's done is what files that it's actually updated. Send this on for Instagram. We've got the two-step wizard flow now. Set all this up. Okay, it's just a summary of what it's done. Variant cycling, which is cool. It'll go back after it gets to the end of 4, go back to 1 again. All logical things that we want to happen. It just does it for you. Okay, so now we can run npm run dev again, or we can just refresh, I think. So let's have a little look and see. If I go straight back to the URL that we're on, reload the page. Okay, cool. Version 2 of our little web-based form that we're going to embed into the new website, which I also vibe coded. This is going to help clients who want to come to me, they want to work with me, we want to create a video. This is what we're going to do. So they can come in, they can just say, so we are sofas are us, okay? What a business type, and we're just going to say, yeah, we're just furniture. That's fine. This is really just a quick test. Primary goal. So we have a list of goals to select from. So we need to see what that looks like on mobile as well. So we can have a little look. Yeah, cool. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's go for a slightly different phone. Yeah, so you might have to... You can't scroll down whilst that's open, so we can come back and fix that. So that's always a good thing to test. So I'm going to pick one of these. Let's go launch new product. So they want a video from me to help launch a new product or service. So we're going to go teal. Cool. Package tier. They want to do this. Call to action. If they're doing new websites, inquire today. Whatever it is. Spell that. Okay, cool. So step 1 of 2, which is super useful. Click next. Cool. We've got target customers. They don't have to fill this in, but if they have target customers like interior designers, we can put that in there like that. Specific style. They might not want a style. They might not have a style. We can actually generate them. Click generated, and then here we go. So the generated brief is in separate sections. We do have, as I feared, boxes within boxes within boxes. So we might need to reduce. We're gonna, whatever this is, we're gonna take that out. Yeah, because that's just too much. So I'm gonna copy this because we'll tell Cursor to remove that box. And here we go. So this is the 1-sentence strategy. We'll position teal suede sofas for interior designs to introduce the offer, clarity and urgency, the structured message. So this isn't what is going to be in the video. This is a brief to me. So this is helping clients communicate to me how they want their video to be if they want to work with me. And so, yeah, this is cool. 30 seconds. Cool. Nice. And then on the core challenge, this. Okay, opening hook, CTA, package tier. We do want that because that's information to me. Okay, cool. Can click email this brief if they want, or we just hit refresh. And there we go. We've got a different template. So there's different templates running in the background based on what they picked and based on what they do. So we can read those, see how that goes. But also, if I go back on here, and we know that it's actually tied to the primary goal. If we change the goal, this should change the generated brief. Okay, so then if we go and click next, generate brief, this is going to be different from any of the ones that we've generated, and also any different from the ones that we've just regenerated as well. So, okay, cool. Authority-led narrative. Okay, open on risks and concerns, showing transparent process and outcomes, and close with calm, direct invitation to inquire today. So the shot list, risk or doubt opener, process, transparency scene, proof of outcome. Okay, so this is good. This is starting to really systematize and actually structure the process a bit more than someone coming to me and saying, well, I want a video that's kind of like this and kind of like that. So actually really quite useful. We now want to actually make it fit within our website. So visually, it doesn't quite look that great. We're gonna change this. I'm gonna change a couple of other things. So I've already copied this, but I'll just make sure that I have it, and just say we have to be careful. So if I'm copying and pasting stuff, I'll paste it first, because when I use Super Whisper or Whisper Flow, it then replaces that copy paste. So just really careful here. So what I'm going to do is paste in the thing that I want to change, and then I can either go in front or behind. So I'm going to say we have too many rounded cards within cards, so please remove this card that says the following. So we'll do that bit, and then we're going to add a column so that we have the parent card and then each of the section cards there neatly, because visually it's just too many lines and too many boxes in there. So we'll finish this, and then I'll say, please see attached a screenshot of my current website and how I want it to be integrated. I've got a light mode and a dark mode. I've got soft drop shadows under the cards. So we need it to be able to be dropped in seamlessly and listen for the triggers for light mode and dark mode. So I don't know if we need to hook that up for this app and it just listens and responds accordingly once that trigger is triggered. Yeah, so let's visually make it match as much as possible. These poor LLMs have to deal with so much of us getting things wrong. So let's go making sense of all the gibberish. So going back to the website, this is what it looks like here. Let's go. What's a good example of the cards? I'll just take a screenshot of this. Put a screenshot. Screenshot 1. Okay, paste it into cursor. I'll go to screenshot 2. So we're just doing light mode and dark mode, just so it understands and it kind of gets it, like so. Pop it into cursor, paste. Okay, so just to show you guys what it's like when we don't do a plan, which is pretty good. We're asking it to make some visual changes to match, and it's not a massive to-do list. There's not a lot of architectural or structural changes. So I think this is okay to just let it go and run and see how we go. So yeah, we're doing well on the tokens. We're doing well. And so it's always good to have a look and see what we've got left remaining. So welcome everyone. Got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And so this is now working away. This is a new request. We've got some screenshots in here. Got some of the code. We can actually look at the full files here and JS code, so you can see what it's doing here. For those of you that are devs and can create, so here we can actually see what it's doing behind the scenes. So it's always good to try and understand what it's doing and how it's doing it. Cool. So we actually look at the code. We can select them there in cursor and actually come down. So we can see here we've got awareness pack templates, we've got sales templates, retention. So you can actually see the strategy will change based on what we've got. And so when someone hits refresh, it'll go from this one to this one to this one if they've picked a sales approach for their goals, if their goals are increased sales. So really nice. Yeah, and we can go through. So we can come here and actually change any of this. Just hit Control S or save, and that'll save that in. And then you can just refresh the local host or refresh it on the browser to see your changes happen, which is really nice. So you have full control once it's all in here. So you can see that script, it's now over 600, nearly 700 lines of code for the brief builder, and everything else is going to be pretty small. But now we're asking it to do more CSS stuff. That's going to be growing. So going back here, you can see what it's doing. Still thinking. We can see what it's running, how it's running it. Pretty good. Okay. Yeah, okay. It's running. We'll see how we go. Hopefully it works. I mean, what we could do, we could No, we could integrate it into my website now because I did use Cursor to write it, so you can just open up the folder and then say, right, and copy this whole folder into that and say, this is what we've got, we need to integrate it, build the plan, and let it run and see how it goes. So now that's completely finished. It says here what it's done, made the visual theme integration updates, remove the extra results, the metadata line file from the UI. Okay, cool. Theme triggers for the light or dark. Okay, nice. Cool. So let's have a look. So because it's all running locally, we can just go straight back to here, hit refresh. It doesn't look any different. Sometimes we have to reset it. So let's see. Okay, yeah, alternate port without errors. So what we're going to do is we can just do... How do we cancel this? So normally I just cancel the terminal and do it locally. So let's have a little look. Pop you back. And then I'm just going to do the server on my other screen quickly. npm run dev. Okay, address already in use. What? Let me have a look. Okay, let's try something else. So maybe it did work. Let me reopen what we closed. Refresh. Or we do a shift refresh, or inspect with a control shift refresh. See if this is the latest one. Cool. So we asked it to do the light and dark mode so that it'll fit, but it's added drop shadows, which is quite nice. And then if we just go, well, let's test it. Sofas are us, furniture, whatever. Select the goal, build trust, and say teal sofas. Select a tier. Head to our website. Cool. Generate brief. Okay, cool. It has made the changes. That's absolutely fine. Because it's removed the extra thing, and that looks much cleaner. But for when it does get integrated into the website, I want to make sure that it is actually using the fonts, as it's not quite picked up that aspect there. Can we add a light and dark mode icon top right to be able to see the changes? I also want you to match the fonts specifically as well. I can give you those so that the colors, which should be black for the dark mode and white for the light mode, all match and integrate perfectly. So put that in there, and then let me get the fonts. That's going to be super useful as well. Let's go here. Website. What we can do is I can copy and paste those fonts in. Do we use the fonts? What fonts do we use? Let's have a look. Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find the fonts, but let me do screenshots. I think I can figure it out. Let's have a little look. Yeah, there we go. We'll be able to figure that out from there, I'm sure. Take the fonts from this screenshot and match them as best you can. Sweet. Okay, so we're going to keep making a few little changes, a few little tweaks, just so it works nicely. But in general, it's actually a tool that I'm going to integrate into my website specifically. Yeah, and we'll be able to remove some of these extra bits that we don't need because it's going to be embedded nicely. Yeah. because this is like a really dark blue instead of black, which might look nice, might add a bit of contrast. So yeah, sometimes just a little bit of structured data can go a long way, so really useful to see what that can be done. Sweet. Okay. Cool. If you guys have any comments or anything specifically either related to this or any other of my workflows or just questions in general, don't hesitate to ask. So I mentioned this earlier, you've got the plus 86 here, and you got the -2, so that's added 86 lines of code and taken away 2 lines of code. So really, really interesting. And you can also review this, and you can see that line 469 was the one that has been removed, and so it's highlighting it nicely. So you can actually see with every step and every change that it's making, you can go in and review it and check and see, is that actually working? Is that what I want? And even question it. Why are you doing this? So really, really useful. You can also expand it in here as well, or review larger. So yeah, it's a super powerful tool. I've got some great stuff with it. Saved a lot of time. So yeah, definitely very, very useful. Let me know what you guys think about the sort of multi-cam side of things. Can probably integrate that into the YouTube side of things. So this is all happening on YouTube widescreen, so horizontally, and so you can actually put that full screen, have a look at all of the steps on YouTube specifically, and all the details you can scrub through as you need, and then the Instagram is just showing sort of the behind the scenes side of things, which is really, really nice. So just a different perspective, showing what the desk looks like. We've got the Quest 3, we've got the mic, Sonos. So yeah, it's nice. And this is the webcam that I use, which you're seeing, which is the Insta360. So that actually has a gimbal on it, and that can face track and move, but I've just locked that off for now, which is super useful. And so yeah, okay, nice. So this is finished doing those next changes. So I've asked it to add a day and light mode button, so that's now happening on there, and you can see what else it's done. Updated the styling a bit more, theme integration, and so we can see that it's told me what files it's changed. We can run the terminal again, so if I close this, terminal's here, it's already running, or we can just maybe run again. Let's have a look, or just click this button. Okay, so we've got I need to run it before we do that. So we go cursor, we can just do, we can run dev again. It's already running that one. Let's see if we can stop this, or just see how this one's doing. Refresh. Yeah, cool. Just hitting a refresh on the old port is doing well. Yeah, and so let me just, for Instagram, I'm just going to center this again. Transform, center horizontal. This is the issue. We're going to see two things, but that's fine. See this? Okay. So we can see here, this is what it looked like on mobile. So we enter the business name. Cool. Toggle for light mode and dark mode, which is super useful. Yeah, light is very bright. And we go through and make the changes. But yeah, it's looking pretty nice. So yeah, we can ask it to get rid of this header text. We don't need this. We've got required fields. Super useful. Let's go see what we get. Let's see. Head to website. Let's see what we got. Click next. Generate brief. Okay, nice. Cool. And so what I might do is ask it to put the email brief at the top. I think that's useful, just because we don't want to get it lost in the scrolling. People read it and they're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, my little like email icon on mobile, but then also on yeah, we can put that in. That would look quite nice. So sweet, I'm gonna ask it to make those changes. This is super useful. So again, using Super Whisper just to talk, and it can interpret it, which is useful. Okay, please remove the video page tool text at the top and the client brief builder. I'm going to actually embed those in the website separately and just have the tool and the cards there. Also, what I found useful is can we add a little email this brief button next to the generated brief text and next to the refresh button? And on mobile, I want that button to change into a little envelope icon. But on desktop, I want that to be a full text button there. I think that's useful so that it doesn't get lost. I know it's got this nice scroll effect, but I want people to maybe even read the first two and go, right, that's great, send. Because we want to make it as quick and as accessible to people who need to see these things nice and quickly. Yeah, I think that will be very, very useful. So Super Whisper is just transcribing that, and that's getting pasted here into Codex. I'll move that over. And so, yeah, hit go. Okay, so because I've been going fast, using the fast mode, it's going through the tokens a lot quicker. So if you're not using the fast mode, and it's still pretty quick, if you have this running on the side whilst you're doing other things, you get a lot done very, very quickly. And so this sort of multitasking, building things whilst doing other things is very, very useful. Great little tip, great little hack there. So this is now working through that, making very simple changes, very, very simple changes. Like removing 11 lines of code, but then adding 37. It's just so much quicker than manually typing it out. Like me not having to type this out is super, super useful. And then getting it wrong and then solving it and debugging it. So even if you needed just like a bit of a scaffolding to start, this is useful. And that's done. That's done. By the time I've spoken about it, hit refresh. Okay, great. We have this email brief button here. We've got the night and day, which we will be removing. Let's do. I mean, I could have got it to fill this for me as a debug thing, but that's fine. This is not a problem. Teal sofas. Select the tier. Head to website. Cool. Even get it wrong. Let's see what happens. Let's stress test it. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is a really good thing, is maybe we do spell check and run that in there as a code thing. But that's nice. We've got an email this brief button there, and then it's actually removed the other one, which I didn't want, but this is interesting. And then on mobile, yeah, it's put it as a little icon. Okay, cool. So it's done. It's replaced it, not kept it. I wasn't specific enough as well. So actually, let's put that back in. Can you please reinstate the email this brief button that was at the bottom of the brief? We want to keep that there so that as they scroll to the bottom, there is the choice there at the bottom, or there is the choice at the top. So we removed it, but actually keeping it and keeping that lock scrollability functionality that we had is super useful. So please don't remove features. We want you to make sure that these additions are non-destructive. That's also a really good keyword, non-destructive. So when you're adding new features or asking it to do another plan, I definitely go in and say, right, please let's implement these new features as non-destructively as possible, because it can, as you've just seen there, you ask it to do something. I had something else in mind. I wanted an additional button. Let's actually have a little look and see what it said. Okay, this is good. So I said, what I found useful was this little email. Okay. Next to the generated, can we add? So I asked it to add it, which it did. Yeah, I think maybe the extra waffle caused the problem, or it just, yeah, I wasn't clear enough. Okay, refresh. Cool, we have email this brief there and there. Fine. Yes, it's there twice at the start, but I think that's absolutely fine. Us, and we go furniture, select the goal, teal, circles. The issue with adding spell check is if they deliberately type something wrong. Do we fix it? I don't know. I mean, this is just to inform me. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna know it's a spelling mistake. I'm not gonna put it in the video like that. So I think this is fine. Interior designers, professional, generate beef. Sweet. Okay. Cool. We have this email brief at the top. We've got it at the bottom, and just double check on mobile. Yes, we have a nice little icon, and we've got the button at the bottom. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, on mobile, I'm going to get rid of this outer box. We don't need it. Yeah, like the whole thing, I don't need this outer box. It's, yeah, we don't need it. I'm going to strip that out. We don't need to do that now. I can strip that out, cut off the light mode and dark mode, but that in the back end is all set up ready to go. We'll be able to cut that off. So, yeah. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to leave that there for today. Thank you to all those who joined, and thank you for those add some comments. But if you see this or you're watching the rerun, please feel free to add in the comments if there's anything specifically you want me to look at. If there's anything you think I sort of washed over that you want a bit more detail in, let me know. I can always come back and revisit it, or just help troubleshoot in the comments. And I do plan on doing like a Gaussian splat video at some point as well, and a live stream on how that works, but that's quite sort of PC intensive as well. There's a few tools that we can use that don't run locally, but yeah, just being able to see what's available, see what's there. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, and yeah, don't hesitate to reach out on DMs if you've got any specific questions. Okay. Yeah, let's just keep going. Sweet. Just saying all the people on Instagram who joined, thank you. Taking any last minute questions? So if it's useful, just as a last minute little recap. So what we did was we installed Cursor. So we had a little look about what Cursor is, how it works, what the tool is, how to get that set up. And so the most important things for you guys to understand is installing Node.js is really useful to just have that running in the background, so that when we're actually running the apps, we've got something that is there, useful, and it's happening. So run Node.js, have that installed. That's critical. We need that. Then you need to download Cursor. So go to Cursor and go to download, and I just use download for Windows. That gives you the latest version. You can also update in Cursor, and you'll also get a little pop-up notification on the bottom left when there is an update for Cursor, which is great. And that won't update your code base or anything, so for your specific app. So that's just running on the Cursor side, not the Codex side. And then you'll need to install Codex. So I have the ChatGPT Plus version from OpenAI, and that gives me expanded Codex usage, which I wasn't using. And now I am, which is great. So I'm getting the most out of my subscription. So you can go to OpenAI/Codex, chatgpt.com/codex/cloud, and then you can say try in your IDE and click Cursor, and then you'll be able to download for Cursor here, which is super useful. The tools that I've been using, so to talk to Cursor and to relay the instructions, I've been using Super Whisper, which is really nice. So you just install it on Windows. There's a free trial. Yeah, and you talk through, and it's very, 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 very useful. It transcribes it specifically, the words that you're saying, and it's just so much quicker than typing. I've saved so much time doing it this way. I also tried Super Whisper. Sorry, Whisper Flow. That was really that's a really great tool as well. Yeah, this is actually their website. A lot of them offer some additional tools for the subscription, but for me, I picked Super Whisper over Whisper Flow just because of price. Super Whisper was quite a bit cheaper, and I wasn't going to use all of the features included. And so to go through the very last, what I've built before, this is a YouTube and Instagram dashboard that I've is pulling all the API information from my Instagram and my YouTube, so I can do a comparison and see how my posts are doing to check what content is working on what platform, so I know what to post next. This is a 3D Gaussian splat 3D model that I created with my drone footage, and then that gets turned into, this is a live web version, but this is now an interactive external historical tour of the building. So adding a nice interactive data layer on top of that was again makes it super powerful, sort of information rich side of things, and that's also got a nice dark mode as well, all branded. And this is Hodsock Priory's Gatehouse. Completely rebuilt my website from scratch as well, using Cursor and Claude Code, which is really, really great. Being able to come in and just look at rethink of what my offer is, basically video or 3D for web. So yeah, really, really nice to be able to come in and build things out. So yeah, nice to yeah, really just use these tools and unlock coding for me. And then this is what we built today. This is what we're going to embed. I'm going to embed in my website to make things easier for my potential customers. So it's going to be a form, but they fill it in here. I've got some extra bits. They click generate brief, and based on the primary goal, they get different templates, and they can also change the template. There's 4 or 5 different options, and they click email, and that populates the email that they send to me as an inquiry. And that does all the work. Instead of them going, hi, I want this, or I'm not sure what I want, they fill out a few things on the form, a few forms on the page, done, sent, sorted. And this will also then respond to the yeah, light mode and dark mode. So yeah, this is a super powerful tool. And if you're already paying for ChatGPT, yeah, you have access to this and you can use it for free basically. So yeah, really, really powerful tool. Thank you again for all who joined, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.